Hello. This is the first documentary video of an unnamed game project I'm working on. It's going to be a mobile game, and I'm not going to take a lot of time going over the details of how the game works, but more so with this video I just want to go over the image that I have for the game and the work I've done so far. The premise of the game will be that you're working as a detective of sorts, and all the information about the cases you take on is going to be obtained through choices you make when responding to contacts you have in the field. You're going to communicate with these contacts via a messaging system in the game, and as the person handling the case, your contacts are going to ask for instructions on what to do. You're going to have options to choose from, and ultimately those options can make the case take, if you choose the wrong one, it can make the case take longer to solve or make it harder to solve. And if you don't solve the case within a certain time frame, that makes it so you have to start from the beginning and lose all the progress that you've been working on. The contacts you have, like I was saying, they're going to take time to do the instructions you have, so instructing them to do the wrong thing is basically, it just adds time that you don't necessarily want to lose. Right here I have the home screen. When you click the play button, this is basically what you're going to see. And like I was saying, I'm not going to take a lot of time going over the details, but it's really just how I want this game to work. You are going to click the message button to communicate with the contacts that you have, and every time that you communicate with them, once they're done presenting the information that they have, you're going to have a choice to make on what you want them to do next, or what you want them to do with the information that they have. This is basically where most of the action is going to be in this game. And when I say action, I use that term loosely because most of this game is going to be text and logic. It's not going to be image heavy. It's not going to be interacting with moving objects. It's really just going to be you reading and deciding what is the best choice of action. And that ultimately leads to this icon, which is going to be where you take the information that you have and cross-reference things, make conclusions, make deductions. You're going to draw lines on a map within all the information that you have, and decide what has to do with this and what doesn't have to do with that. You can start cutting off deductions and cutting off conclusions as more information is revealed, and then hopefully that will ultimately lead to the user being able to make a solid conclusion on who did what in the crime, who was associated with the people, and what you have to do next, or what you can do next. This is where I think the most difficulty will be designing, quote unquote, designing the game, is because this is going to be completely dynamic, and it's going to ultimately be up to the user on how they want to draw conclusions and what conclusions they want to draw with the information that they have. This icon is mostly just for your contacts, because your contacts are going to work across multiple cases. You're going to have you're going to have a blood spatter analyst as a contact, or a somebody who knows ballistics as a contact, and you're going to have to use them each time in the cases that you have. Sometimes you'll have multiple blood spatter analysts or multiple ballistics experts, and you will have to decide which one you want to choose, because sometimes one of them that's better at it will take a shorter amount of time, but you'll have a limited number of times in which you can contact them. Like maybe they only work a certain time of the day, and you have to draw your conclusions at that time of the day to use that contact. It's complicated to explain, but that's basically what that's for, is the contacts. This is mostly where I'm going to be making money as the developer, because this is how you solve the case if you are running out of time. Say the contacts that you have, they're going to take time to do the choices that you make, and say you make the wrong choice, well, that just added time that you don't necessarily want to lose. So you can buy credits, or you can use credits that you have to say, okay, just do this and do it fast, and then they'll be able to, and then basically it goes on to the next option right away. rather than having to wait for it to happen. The waiting will be in real time. So say you tell the ballistics expert to inspect a bullet hole, and then they're going to take hours to do that, and it's not going to give you any more information until those hours in real time have passed. Down here you have the case files, which is basically all the cases that you have. When you download the game, the game's going to be $1.99 starting off. I don't really like the idea of creating advertisements in this game because it's going to be a logic game. So the game's going to be $1.99 starting off, and it's going to include 3 cases that you can work from. If you decide that you like the cases or you like working through them, you can click here and go through or select which case you want to work on. Every new case is basically going to work as DLC I'm hopefully going to be making cases as often as possible, but basically it's going to work as DLC. You can download, if you like the 3 cases that you start off with, you can download a new case and work on that one. And it's the idea that I have in my head is that each case is going to cost $1 or 1 credit rather. This is the close button, obviously, and then we have this button here, which is it's supposed to represent like the store icon, and not all these icons are going to stay, but just a rough outline. This is going to be the store icon. When you click this, you're going to be able to purchase credits. The credits you can use to buy new cases or to buy or you can use the credits to like speed up a process that you have with one of your contacts. I'm going to go ahead and open just this. Not the layout, but the work behind the layout actually took a lot of time to do this. I mostly just made this so you can see what the process is when communicating or receiving information from one of your contacts. Pretend that you just click that button and then you open the message thread with one of your contacts who informs you that that there's new information. You can go ahead and open it, and then it'll make a little mock icon here to represent that they're typing a message. I gotta create an animation for that, but basically as they're typing it, each message is going to display in order. That's what took so long, was figuring out how to make these messages display in order and not all at once, and how to basically size everything correctly. But as you just saw, this is the messages being displayed and where the communication, I guess, is happening. This is the contact talking to you, and they're saying all this information about it's nonsense right now, but it's going to be information relating to the case. Once a thread like this has been completed, you're going to have 2 buttons down here, or maybe more than 2, I don't know. You're going to have options down here to select on what you want them to do next. They're going to ask you something like, what do you want me to do with this? And you can say, go to the police, use your head, that kind of thing, and you can basically make choices. And when they do that, or when you do that, it's going to wait a certain amount of time, which will be hours, could be minutes, could be hours, and it will basically run the thread, run the next thread after that amount of time has passed. Hopefully what you're going to see when you click that, when you open a contact's messages, is you're going to see the communication you've already had with them, and you're going to see the new options that you have down here at the bottom. Another part that that was particularly difficult was figuring out how to make it scroll. With Construct 2, it's not scrolling is not easy. If you don't know what options you have, or like what tools you have. But basically what I was trying to do was make it so whenever you scrolled up too far, like when it hit the bottom of the thread, I didn't want it to scroll anymore. Figured that out. Right now I need to make it so that when you hit the top of the thread you can't scroll anymore, but right now this is basically what I have. to be honest, that's kind of it. On the next update, what I'm hoping to do is create an entire mock case, I guess. Like it's going to have multiple threads, and then after each thread or after a thread is run, it's going to give you the options, and depending on which option you take, it's going to choose from which thread it wants to, or the next thread that it wants to run, and yeah, it's just going to pull the thread dynamically based on the option that you make. With that, I'm going to have to make multiple threads, multiple options, and I'm going to have it pull each file based on what option you make, which will that I don't really see being that difficult. It's more so just time consuming. But yeah, next update, that's what's going to be, and thanks for watching.